AskReddit by deleted. What's the best piece of financial advice you've ever received? Start saving money as young as possible and leverage the awesome power of compound interest. Compound interest is a game changer. Investing $10K at age 20 and never touching it again will net you roughly the same as dropping $25K and adding $50 a month at age 40 by the time you reach age 70. If you had started that 50/month at age 20 with $500 down, you achieve the same thing. At age 40, you get similar results with nothing down and $200 a month. All figures based on 6% interest. Back when I was a rookie driver, I had a speed demon on my tail, which made me jittery, and I ended up picking up my speed. Then, my old man dropped this gem: don't let others take the wheel of your ride. Turns out, that nugget works in a lot of life scenarios. It's funny, whenever I see road rage issues around me, or stuff like that, I used to participate in it, but now that I am older, whenever I see it, I either try to get out of the way, or even get off the highway. If there are several drivers being idiots and risking my life for something petty, I'd rather exit the road for 5-10 minutes, then come back hopefully to fresh highway away from them. Self-preservation is a real thing. Treat saving money like a bill that must be paid to yourself every month. Yep. And scrimp and save until you have at minimum 1 month's total bills saved. Preferably multiple months. Deleted. Except, you don't need to read the daily stock market news noise. Do you really need it, or will it be collecting dust in a year? Dat. Good advice. Exception made of display pieces, like paintings, which are, well, designed to stand in place and not do anything. Invest early, even if it's a small amount. The sooner you start, the more you benefit from growth of. The chart here supports your advice. https://sweeneymitchell.com/blog/compounding right square bracket open bracket https://sweeneymitchell.com blog compounding. Understand the power of compound interest. It can work for you, investments, or against you, loans. My grandmother, who had plenty of money, always used to point out the biggest fanciest house on our block. You see that big fancy house? I bet he's very proud of that house, spends a whole lot of time and money maintaining it month after month, year after year. But little does he know, he doesn't own that house. The house owns him. Ever since that time I've tried to minimize my housing cost and overhead, and it's made an incredible difference in my life. I have friends with much higher income than me, who live like slaves every day because, for some reason, they just have to live in a big fancy house. Or that person could have been living well within his means and enjoying his house. Money talks, wealth whispers, and debt screams. That's a good one. No one needs to know exactly how much you earn other than your spouse. If you earn more than what people expect you to, they will start asking you for loans, favors, gifts. On the flip side, having an idea of what your friends and colleagues make gives you a better perspective on if you're being paid fairly, or if you do better in the market. It's not the only factor in a job, but it's empowering to know if you're being paid at market rate. Deleted. I put as many of my monthly expenses onto a credit card that gives me air miles for every £1 I spend. The air miles I rack up every year just by doing that pay for my summer holiday. It's awesome. There's a difference between being able to buy it and being able to afford it. Be wary of financial advice from those with a vested interest in selling you products or services. My friend's brother-in-law roped us all in when we were fresh out of university and starting new jobs. His job was to sell financial products. A bunch of use bought his mutual funds. He was of course interested in selling his products to us to make himself commissions. However, Those investments that we bought in our 20s are worth way more than what we paid for them 30 years later, assuming anyone held on to them. Learn the difference between wants and needs, and prioritize spending on needs. But I need this 3D printer I've been eyeing. I need it to make things I want. You can appreciate beautiful, fun, and otherwise desirable things without having to own them for yourself. Helped me avoid a lot of unnecessary purchases. Invest while still young. The best financial advice I ever received was to prioritize saving and investing early on. By consistently setting aside a portion of my income and investing it wisely, I can secure my financial future and build wealth over time. Additionally, living within my means and avoiding unnecessary debt has been crucial in maintaining financial stability. By following these principles, I can achieve my financial goals and enjoy peace of mind knowing that I am prepared for any unexpected expenses or future opportunities. A third on housing, a third on living and a third on saving, might add. Also, don't spend what you don't have, I bid. Admittedly, the top piece of advice as to housing is becoming all but impossible in a lot of Western nations now. Options are so crunched, especially at the affordable market rates, that spending half your income on housing is much more common. Good advice if you can take it, but impossible to do so for a lot of folks. Save first, spend next. Not the other way around. My dad instilled this in me from an early age and it stood me well. I've never had a credit card, loan or bought anything on credit. I'm not one for being concerned with the acquisition of material wealth, so I've lived for decades working fewer hours than most and having lots of free time to spend on the things I enjoy, living frugally. You don't really need it. Best way to double your money is to fold it in half and put it back in your pocket, thanks Gran, in relation to all the get rich quick schemes scams at the time. Also, best time was 20 years ago. Next best time is now in relation to investing in real estate shares. The best way to make a small fortune in Vegas is to start with a large fortune. The money on a credit card is not your money. You don't have that money. Treat a credit card like you're taking a loan from the mafia. My dad when I was 16. Don't spend money you don't have. Be born into a wealthy family. Also, be good looking. Now you're really set. Even though it took me way too long to really put it into practice. Understand compound interest. It's really not hard to understand. People just don't acknowledge it enough. This goes for debt and assets BTW.